Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, a person who at the end of his life quits his body thinking of Krishna attains the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. But it is not true that the person who thinks of something other than Krishna attains the same transcendental state. This is a point we should note very carefully. How can one die in a proper state of mind? Maharaja Bharata, although a great personality, thought of a deer at the end of his life. And so in his next life, he was transferred into the body of a deer. Although as a deer he remembered his past activities, he had to accept that animal body. Of course, one's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thought at the moment of death. So this life creates one's next life. If in one's present life one lives in the mode of goodness and always thinks of Krishna, it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of one's life. That will help one be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. If one is transcendentally absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not material. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Thank you. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ajanulambita bhujokana kavadatu Sankirtanai kapitaro kamalai taksha vishvambaro dvijavaro yugadharma palo vande jagat priya karo karunavataro Yontah pravishya mama vachim imam prasuptam sanjivayata kila shakti darak svadhamna anyamsya hasta charana shravanat vagadim pranannamo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam Svasyastu vishvasya kalah prasidatam Dayantu bhutani shivam mithodhiya Manascha vadram bhajata tadokshaje Aveshyatam no matir apyahaitu ki. Hare Krishna. I am very happy to be with all of you this Sunday, and we have, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, an opportunity to speak about Krishna and to think about Krishna. and in this way ensuring the ultimate success of our life, according to this particular verse from Bhagavad-Gita. The difference between Vedic spirituality, Vedic paths, and many other religions which are there in this world is that Vedas explain everything in a very rational way. Vedas don't explain dogmas. Well, dogmas you don't need to explain, dogmas you just state. Vedas don't encourage the blind faith. Vedas wants us to think and wants us to understand the principles of spiritual life. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada again and again called Krishna consciousness as science of God. He didn't call it religion. He didn't call it the religious movement of God consciousness. He was very specific and very strict. He says it's a science of God by which you can attain God. And this particular chapter, which is called Akshara Brahma Yoga, or as Prabhupada translates this traditional name of the 8th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita as attaining the Supreme, is a science of attaining Supreme, not the dogma. Because in many other religions, you will hear, you become the member of this religion. You just do certain things, and then for sure you will be transferred to God. No, Krishna doesn't guarantee you just by the matter of membership. You can become life member and pay, I don't know how much you should pay now. There is inflation now. During Prabhupada's time it was 1,111 rupees. Now it's probably 10 times more. But the point is that, if you become life member, it doesn't guarantee you that after this life you will still remain a member of Krishna family. You're only life member. You're only member in this life. After this life remains to be seen. So what Krishna wants to say is that there is a science. There is a scientific principle. It's not just blind faith. You become a member of this particular organization, you support this particular organization, and then we guarantee you will get a certificate. At the moment of death, your soul will get a certificate. He is a member, so he has a free passage to heaven. No. It's not like this. Krishna says this is the principle. In which state of mind you leave this body, this state you will achieve in the next life. And therefore, the implication of this statement, very important, because Arjuna asked this question. He asked this question, "Oh Krishna, how I can remember you at the moment of death?" At the end of the 7th chapter, Arjuna asked this question and he said, please explain to me, how is that possible? Especially in the middle of this battle. Because we know it's so difficult, we have to really, use our intelligence and everything. How we can remember about God? And Krishna starts speaking. And Krishna explains, at the moment of death, basically this is the very important implication. You will only remember what you tried to remember during your lifetime. Your endeavors to remember God will culminate in remembrance of God during the time of death. As Prabhupada explains in the purport, in the critical moment of death, you will only remember what you practiced to remember. He doesn't say, you live whatever life you like, and then at the end of the life, you remember Krishna, no problem, you will go back home, back to Godhead. No. It's not possible. It's not possible at all. If you remember all kinds of garbage during your lifetime, then at the moment of death, you will remember the same garbage. There is a very nice computer engineer principle. I'm not speaking in Bangalore. Of course, if I would speak in Bangalore, everyone would understand what I mean. But I think you will also understand what I mean. The principle is that garbage in, garbage out. If you put something on the hard drive of computer which is actually flawed, which is not nice, which is not perfect, then the output, whatever input is there, the output will be the same. You cannot expect the output, nice output, if the input was bad. So in the same way, the same, you will get at the moment of death the same output, what you were trying to input in your consciousness during your lifetime. So it actually gives a very grave responsibility upon us. That whatever we think, whatever we consume, whatever food we eat, whatever sensual impressions we get, it all gradually builds up our next body. Actually, this principle was explained by Maharaja Vasudeva during critical time when Duryodhana, not Duryodhana, what was his name, this Kamsa. Anyway, both are rascals. So when Kamsa wanted to kill Devaki, then Maharaja Vasudeva, who wanted to protect his wife, and he couldn't protect his wife by weapons, he was trying to protect his wife by the means of intelligence. Intelligence is a weapon. Intelligence is a very powerful weapon, and you can change the mind of other person by your intelligence. So Maharaja Vasudeva was making a point. Now you are about to commit a very heinous act, very evil, very cruel act. And this act, if you commit it, will always remain with you. Especially when we do something very drastic, when we do, memory works in a very peculiar way. We don't remember most of the things which we encounter in this world. But certain things we remember. And these certain things which stick to our memory is actually very important. So what we usually remember something which is connected, which has some emotional content in it. If some memory is connected with some emotional state, is charged with some deep emotions, then the memory of this will be very deep and will stick to our consciousness. So Maharaja Vasudeva, trying to preach Kamsa against this heinous act which he is about to commit, he says, if you do this, you will remember it till the moment of your death, and in the moment of your death, you will remember the same thing. It will stick to your memory because this act is so bad. Like in every religion, there is a notion, a concept of sin. But practically none of the big religions of this world, which are primarily not scientific, which are not talking about scientific principle, they don't understand why certain acts are sinful and why other acts are good. Why certain acts are commendable and other acts are bad. So there is no definition. I mean, it's more or less taken for granted. If you do something bad, but why is it bad? Why you should follow this principle and not other principles? Why you should not eat meat, but at the same time you can eat, I don't know, carrot or potato? What is the difference between... and it's not explained. In most of the religions, it's not explained. In Bible, there is also prohibition. They say don't eat meat of these animals and that animals and these animals. The animals who has 5 claws, these animals should not be eaten. But why? Why? Vedas are very clear. Nahimsaeti. If you do himsa, if you do inflict pain to other living entities, then this pain will come back to you. If you inflict pain to other people, to other living entities, first of all, there will be some adrishta, some karma, invisible karma, some external manifestation of this act which will sooner or later come back to you. But moreover, if you do this cruel act, you develop certain nature. And this nature is actually not conducive for you to be close to God. Srila Prabhupada explains here very beautifully. He says that if you do certain things, whatever we do in this life, whatever we are doing in this life, should make us God-like. And therefore, Krishna uses here the word bhava. Bhava means emotion. Bhava means emotional state. Bhava means certain state of consciousness. Why certain things are prohibited in religion? Because they change our nature. They make our nature foreign to God. We cannot approach God because we more or less enforced nature which is not very conducive or not very congenial to the nature of God. So what acts we should do? The acts which produce certain bhava, and this bhava should be conducive for us to become closer to God. It's actually very simple and very scientific principle. We should do something which is God-like if we want to come to God. If we don't want to come to God, if we want to remain in Udupi, no problem. You can remain in Udupi or in New York, no problem. You can go to New York and become as crazy as practically all people who live in New York, no problem. But if you want to come to God, then you have to act in the same way which would produce certain emotions which are congenial to the emotions of spiritual life, which are spiritual emotions. So this is exactly the point which is being done. So I'm trying to explain that Vedas, they explain very clearly why certain things are called sinful. First of all, because they create nature which is not very favorable for your Krishna consciousness. Second of all, because they create some impression, some memories which are very deep. And these memories, because they are not good memories, they will influence your thinking at the moment of death. One of the names for sin in Sanskrit is Agha, like Aghasura. Aghasura is the personification of sin. He is the sin personified. So the word Agha means, it comes from the verbal root, Sanskrit root, han. And han means To kill, han means to destroy. So like nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul is not being destroyed when the body is destroyed. So han means to destroy, and agha means something which is indestructible. So it's a very, again, scientific and deep implication. What is sin? Sin is something which creates samskara, which is practically indestructible. Very strong samskara, very deep samskara. Why certain things you shouldn't do? Because it creates very deep memory, and this deep memory will not be favorable at the moment of death. Because again, everything which we do, and there is a Sanskrit saying about this, everything which we do, all tapasya which we do in this life, all the good things which we do in this life, all the bad things which we do in this life, everything is being tested at the moment of death. The moment of death is the examination. And, sometimes people think that, you can change something at the moment of death. At the moment of death, you cannot change anything. Whatever you did during the lifetime will be just concluded at the moment of death. And therefore, we have to understand this, and we have to remember this. And the best way to remember this, and the best way to remember about Krishna, and the best way to always be in the memory of Krishna is, of course, we know, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Provided you are remembering about Krishna while chanting Hare Krishna, which is not such an obvious statement. You may be chanting and remember about something else. Some people, they're very expert in making this sound in the morning. And their mind is somewhere else. It's not in Rama, it's not in Krishna, it's not in Hari, it's somewhere else. It's not there. This is just three names of God, which are meant for us to remind us there is God. And this God is very peculiar. This God is very charming. Therefore, he is called Krishna. He is all attractive. This God is very pleasing. He is making our heart full of joy. Therefore, he is called Rama. And this God is very tricky because he can take away all the bad things from our memory. We first say Hare. Hare basically means, please take away all the bad memories which we have. I want to be prepared to this critical moment of death. In this critical moment of death, I don't want to remember about my wife. Definitely not about my wife. I mean, luckily I don't have any wives, so at least this I will not remember. I don't want to remember about my husband. I don't want to remember about my children. I don't want to remember about anyone. I want to remember about you. And therefore we first say Hari. Hari basically means take away all other memories. But somehow or other we say Hare, oh Hari, and then immediately we start remembering something else. But we should remember, no, Hari is somebody who can clean our consciousness, who can clean our heart. And therefore we call him first. We first call him Hare Krishna. We can only understand who is Krishna or feel the attractiveness of Krishna if our heart is clean, if our heart is free from all other memories or remembrances or samskaras. And therefore we say Hare Krishna. Not just Krishna. First Hare and then Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then it's also very important. This is, of course, mantra, which is according to Kalisantarana Upanishad, is recommended for everyone in this age of Kali Yuga. And it is very important because in this mantra we have Hare Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada explains that Hare you can translate as Hari. It's vocative of Hari, Hare, but it's also vocative of Hara. And then when we translate Hare as Hara, O Hara, we mean, of course, Srimati Radharani, we mean the energy of God. And the structure of this mantra is very peculiar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna means Krishna and Radha together. Krishna and his energy together, they are in Vrindavan, and they are engaged in meeting with each other. And then Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare means that Hari, Hara and Krishna are separated. So in this mantra we have meeting and separation. We have Sambhoga, Hare Krishna, and we have Vipralamba, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. When Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura, and he left all his inhabitants of Vrindavan to sing in separation about him. So this is what we should remember during chanting. We should remember about Krishna, we should remember how beautiful he is, and we should remember how he is beautifully engaged in the pastimes with his devotees, how he is happy when his devotees are serving him, and how he is reciprocating with this service. And then we should remember that sometimes Krishna leaves. Sometimes Krishna leaves us. Sometimes we feel that my heart is empty. There is nothing there in the heart. There is no Krishna there. It means Krishna is trying to see whether we are crying in separation with him, or we just take it for granted. Yes, of course, Krishna is somewhere there, and he doesn't care about me. So this is what we should remember every day of our life, and therefore Krishna says here, Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Sada, always. We will remember about Krishna at the end of death, Tyajatante Kalevaram, when the time for leaving our body will come to us, only if during the lifetime, Sada, all the time we remember who is Krishna by chanting his holy name. Therefore, in this particular chapter, again and again and again, Prabhupada repeats practically in every purport, sometimes 2 times in a purport, sometimes 3 times in a purport. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Why? Because he explains this is the easiest way to change our bhava. And our life is meant for changing our bhava. The human form of life is only form of life where we can change our bhava. Animals cannot change their bhava. Animals, they're destined to remain animals and they will die as animals. But human being can change the bhava, can change the emotional content, can change the state of being, can change the condition of our heart. And therefore it's so important to try to change it by chanting Hare Krishna. Not mechanically chanting Hare Krishna, but by chanting Hare Krishna, understanding the science of God, which is Krishna consciousness. Not just dogmatic statement, chant and somehow or other miraculously you will be transferred somewhere. No. Miracles are there, but miracles, behind miracles there is higher science. Whatever people call miracles is actually also some scientific occurrences which are based on the principles of higher science. So yes, we should count on miracle. But if we want this miracle to happen with us, if we really want to meet with Krishna at the moment of death, we should understand this higher science of Krishna consciousness. If we change our bhava, then for sure we will see Krishna. If we don't, then for sure we will see somebody else about whom we mostly remember during our lifetime. That's it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Maybe there is one or two questions, and then we will go. I don't. Okay. Some devotees, they leave the body in coma. This particular question was asked by Ramanujacharya in his relationship with Varadaraj Swami in Kanchipuram. Ramanujacharya was also puzzled by this question because it seems unfair. You know, what if I be in this unconscious state of mind during my lifetime? Not lifetime, during the death. And Varadaraj said, don't worry about this. If you try to remember about Krishna during your lifetime, then Krishna will remember about you during your death. Even if you don't remember him, he will remember you. Why? Because he himself formulated the principle, again, scientific principle, that, what is it? In the fourth canto, Yayat hamam prapajante tam stathamya bhajamyaham. If somebody relates to me, I reciprocate with him in the same way. So if we try to remember about Krishna during lifetime, then Krishna will remember about us, and it doesn't matter so much. What matters is what we're trying to do during our lifetime. All right. Thank you.